Hi everyone, this is for May 12th, 2021 for Nutrition and Dietary Choices. And today I'm going to show you guys how to make a zucchini cannelloni. So cannelloni typically is a pasta that's shaped like a tube that you fill and you bake it like a lasagna. We're going to do the same thing, but we're going to use strips of zucchini instead to make this low carb. But it's still going to be packed with a lot of great flavor. So we're going to start off real quick with our filling. Okay, so I've got a large mixing bowl here that we're going to take and add in 2 cups of ricotta cheese. So I'm using a whole milk ricotta. You could use more of a skim milk, lighter one. That's fine. It's just going to have a little more liquid content. So I like the whole milk because it's a little bit on the thicker side, especially for a filling. Okay. So this is half of a large container, half of a quart-sized container is 2 cups. We're going to start with that. And then we're going to add to this more cheese. So we're going to add in 1 cup of shredded mozzarella. Then we're also going to add in, for lots of flavor, a 1 cup measure of shredded Parmesan cheese. And you don't want to use the Parmesan that's in the shaker can. You want, something that's got a nice texture to it. So you can shred that yourself, or you can buy it pre-shredded. Now we're also going to add in, for lots of flavor, 3 cloves, right? So that's a lot. So 3 cloves of garlic chopped up already, so rough chopped. So we want to give this filling nice flavoring. So we're going to add in about 1/2 teaspoon of salt. So I'm using some kosher salt here. And some fresh cracked black pepper. Now to this, we're also going to add in 2 large eggs, but I just want to get most of this cheese blended together here first. There we go. All right, so we're going to add in our eggs. Crack one at a time, right? And check the quality of each egg before we add it in. We don't have to restart our whole filling. That's a waste of a lot of ingredients. So there's 1 and 2. They both look good. So in they go. Move some stuff out of the way here. Clean as you go, right? Now I'm just using a little rubber spatula to stir this. You could use a spoon because it is kind of thick. It'd be too thick with the cheese and chunky to do with a whisk. Okay, so you want to make sure you get everything mixed well. Now we added the eggs in for our filling because that's going to be our binder, right? So as those eggs set inside our zucchini, it's going to help hold the shape. All right, and there we go. There's our ricotta, mozzarella, Parmesan cheese filling. All right, so we're just going to set this off here to the side. And then we're going to talk about zucchini, right? We're getting into springtime. Summertime is when zucchini is plentiful in the New England area. From gardens, I'm growing a bunch of plants in my own garden at home. So I'm always looking for ideas to do something different with things like zucchini, right? Instead of just putting it on the grill or zucchini bread. So 4 zucchinis for this recipe. I already have some prepped ahead of time, but I'm going to show you how to do these. So we're going to cut them into strips. So instead of pasta, we're going to use zucchini instead. Right? So what I need to do is I'm going to trim off each end of the zucchini because we're going to use our peeler to make our strips. Now, the first couple of peels are probably going to be a discard. And also the very center of it where all the seeds are. But you could definitely chop what's left over up to throw into a soup. So it doesn't have to be wasted. If you're not going to use it today, just throw it in the freezer. Right. So we want to get some nice strips. Like that. That's what we're looking for, right? And these are the little ones. If they're a little skimpy, you can overlap them and they're going to work just fine. So what I do is I work on each side of the zucchini until I get to seeing the seeds. I can just start to see the seeds emerging there. So I'm going to switch sides. And I'm pressing pretty firm on this. I'm using what we call a wide mouth peeler, but you could use a regular traditional vegetable peeler this way. I just like this one because it's a little bit easier to hold when I'm doing these type of things. And I get some nice wide strips that way. Just peel it. And then we're going to build. So we're going to add this because I already have the other zucchini peeled here, right? So we have our nice long strips. So we're ready to go. So now what we're going to need is a pan to build this in. So you could use a regular metal baking pan. I'm just going to use this. It fits perfectly in here. And let's clean up, right? So I'm going to use a little bit of nonstick spray. So that way, because anything cheesy tends to stick, right? And then you're going to use some marinara sauce. So whatever jar brand marinara sauce that you prefer, go with that. You can use a regular traditional pasta sauce as well. But whatever you like, you want something that's thick enough. A tomato sauce will work too, that you can season with your own herbs and things. So I'm going to put about 1/3 of the jar, and this is a 24-ounce jar, into the bottom of my pan, right? Because we're going to be laying our zucchini cannelloni on top of the sauce. We want to make sure things don't stick and burn. So we want to give this a nice sauce bed to lay on as our base. Okay, so sauce this side here. All right, so that's all set and ready to go. I'm going to put that over here to the side, out of the way. And I'm going to show you how to build the cannellonis. So now I'm going to be using our strips here. And like I said, you can overlap them as you go because you want to make sure you have solid pieces. Okay, so you want to build this out to be about 4 inches or so. I kind of go by the width of my hand, right? So from my thumb to my fingertip here. So if it's somewhere around there, I know that I'm good. Okay, and we want to put in about 2 tablespoons worth of filling. So I put it here. You want to spread it out. It's okay if it's a little lean on the edges because it's going to ooze a little bit as we roll. So that's okay. So a little thicker to the middle, a little bit more tapered out. Now I've just got a little bench scraper. You could use a little spatula to do this. I find that it's just easier to do, to come in and pick them all up underneath as one. Because if I try and do it by hand with my fingertips, it's a little bit harder. So we're going to, and then I can use this to help me roll it forward. There we go. Look at that. All right. Now these are going to go into our pan right with the sauce. All right. So I wanted to be able to show you that. Just move this bowl to the side here for a sec. So you want to carefully pick them up, right? And that's our zucchini cannelloni, right? So now I'm going to show you this again so you can see that technique of building them. And as I lay them, I always try to find which way they fit the best. Each section. Like I said, you want to overlap as you go, because some areas will be a little thinner than others, and that's fine. So this will make about 18 of them, 16 to 18, somewhere around there. So plenty for a family meal, right? So I'm going to roll it up. And like I said, you're just rolling it forward, right? So instead of pasta, this is a much healthier alternative, right? This is going to go in here, the other ones. I'm going to get a strip so I can show you finishing them off real quick. So I like zucchini. It's very versatile. Like I said, in summertime, it's plentiful. It's lower cost vegetables, right? There we go. Do that again just to show you. Now this is going to bake in the oven. I already have that preheated to 400 degrees. And it's going to take about 45 minutes to finish, to get nice and hot and bubbly and make sure everything is cooked through, right? There's your roll, right? Like I said, a little thin on the edges is fine because as you put these in and put sauce on top, that pressure might ooze a little bit out to the edge. So that's okay. All right, we'll do one more. Show you again. Don't worry if all your strips don't have green on them, they will as they go. But it does make a pretty pattern, though. You have little hints of green throughout. And the skin on vegetables is healthy, right? So we don't always want to. So it's looking a little thin here. So I'm just going to lay one on top, right? So you don't have to be worried about that. More there. So these can be done ahead of time and just don't bake it, right? So if I wanted to make this today to bake for tomorrow, or make it in the morning to bake for dinner tonight, I can just pop it in the oven then. If it's chilled, it may take a little bit longer to cook from the fridge to the oven. So just keep that in mind, okay? So that's our zucchini and cannelloni built there. And then to finish these off, it's just going to get more sauce. So go back to our jar of sauce and just do a little sauce on top of each one. And this pan will get completely filled. You're going to see the one that's already done here in a second, right? And then I like to top it with a little bit more cheese just to help give a crust on the top. So I'm going to take a little bit of leftover mozzarella and just sprinkle that on the top. Okay, so just like a lasagna, you've got all those same flavors. Okay. I'm going to stick this one to the side. So I will finish building all these after. But I already have one that's done. So what I did is I put this, because I use a foil pan, I put it on a baking sheet because these tend to get a little bit flimsy, especially when they're really hot and filled with hot bubbling, you know, zucchini and things and sauce. So you can always put it on a sheet pan underneath. But this one's been out of the oven for a little while, so I can pick it up now at this point. And I'm going to use this underneath the next one to go in the oven. Okay. So this is your zucchini cannelloni. Look at that. Bakes up beautifully, right? So I have rows here. I had a couple of extra that didn't quite fit, so I put them right in the center, right, to fill up the space. So it is something that's, it's a beautiful dish. I'm just going to pull some out here so you can see. Grab my spatula. By using that non-stick spray on the edge, right? Everything's loose right here. Nothing's sticking, which is what we want. I'm just going to pull these rolls loose. And I'm just looking for where the edges are of them. Okay. There we go, right there. Look at that. A little cheese here. Beautiful. You can always hit it with just a little sprinkle of Parmesan on top, but that's it, right? That is beautiful. So filled with lots of flavor. So your zucchini cannelloni, right? So it's ricotta cheese, mozzarella, Parmesan, lots of garlic. You could add the herbs and spices to it, you know, other Italian seasonings and things like that. Whatever your favorite sauce is, doesn't have to be homemade, right? It can come from a jar. So especially for a weeknight meal. But you can make this up ahead of time, set it in the fridge, bake it later. So 400 degrees, about 45 minutes. Keep an eye on it because you want it to be nice and bubbly and brown on top, but not burnt. Okay, so that's your zucchini cannelloni. So hopefully it's something you can try this summer, especially when zucchinis are plentiful out of the garden and in the stores.